Hiya! Welcome! This is Records Roundup number 76. Plenty to show you, as always. Couple of collections completed for all intents and purposes today, with singles and a particular album, which will be the mail opening at the very end to do. So let's get cracking, and first of all I'm going to show you a DVD. Now this is from Flashback Records, and I kind of showed this, albeit still in a Jiffy envelope, in the last New Order collection update video earlier on this month. And this was the other DVD that I ordered alongside the New Order Item box set, and you can go back and watch more about that in the New Order video. But to recap, Item is a box set that's basically got two previously released New Order DVDs in it, New Order Story and New Order A Collection. Also at Flashback, in that very same order, was this, a Pet Shop Boys live DVD that I didn't already own. I do try and be a completist on Pet Shop Boys DVDs and Blu-rays. This is Performance, by the way, but I know there is certain ones that are still missing in my collection, and I'm not in any great rush to get them. Of course, I'm a completist for Pet Shop Boys albums, albeit on CD. I don't really collect them on vinyl, apart from the occasional 12-inch single. But Performance, this was filmed at the Birmingham NEC Arena, I believe, way back in 1991. This DVD issue was some years later, it says on screen, when this was released. A little look at the back, but not really an awful lot to see. And I don't think I've ever seen any of this before. It may have had a TV broadcast at some point, but I don't think I ever saw it. A little look inside. It does come with its original book, and there's the disc for £10 alongside the New Order DVDs that I did already have, but I just like the Item box set, and the duplicates I've got of those New Order DVDs I will pass on as VCLT at some point. But really happy to get that. It does remind me actually that the Pet Shop Boys were supposed to be releasing a new Blu-ray this year, live from Copenhagen, the Dreamworld tour. I actually saw them on the Dreamworld tour, and I've done a video about that that's in my various shish playlist. But there's been no announcement of it. Now then, as I record these videos a little in advance, I could have dated this particular spiel by saying that, because they might have announced their Copenhagen Dreamworld Blu-ray by the time you're watching this, but as of me filming this at the very end of October, still no news on it. Anyway, that is Birmingham 1991, around the time of their Behaviour album, Pet Shop Boys Performance.
I tried hard not to shock you. It's hard not to. With the things I could say, tell me why don't we try not to break our hearts and make it so hard for ourselves? Why don't we try not to break our hearts and make it so hard for ourselves? You lock your letters in a box and you hit on the key. I go on better. I'm indebted to a contact magazine. Tell me why don't we try not to break our hearts and make it so hard for ourselves?
On to some 7-inch singles now. This one is from eBay, and it is for my New Order and Related collection. It's Happy Mondays and one of their early singles, Freaky Dancing, backed with The Egg. Not an awful lot to say about this. Nice colourful sleeve. It's a New Order Related collection edition for me, because Bernard Sumner produces, I think he produces both tracks, and he doesn't do it with his sometime production partner Donald Johnson of A Certain Ratio. It's just Sumner is engineered by Chris Nagel, who worked a lot with Martin Hannett back in the late 70s, early 80s particularly. Quick look at the disc. This is also out on 12-inch. I don't think I'm going to pick the 12-inch up as well, unless I see it along with something else I'm buying from a Discogs seller, say, and it's cheap enough just to add to the basket, a bit like how I did with a certain ratio, Won't Stop Loving You. I got that on 7 and 12-inch at differing times. That was also produced, or rather remixed, by Barney. But there we go, Happy Mondays, Freaky Dancing, The Egg.
7 signs of 7 friends. Short in Wonderland. What's next? Funny. Yeah, you thought it was funny. I needed a good time. Spend no
Moving on to some Discogs purchases. Now this is a pretty expensive single. In fact, the next two are pretty expensive. I think they were both £30. In fact, this one I think might have been a shade over. It might have been 33. But I've been wanting this for ages, especially since I got the preceding single from Flashback some months ago. I'm talking about Real Love by the Beatles. So of course this is from Anthology 2, my favourite of the Anthology trilogy. I had this on CD single back when I was a teenager in 1996. Got to number 4 here in the UK, if memory serves. It does say the chart position on screen. The B-side for this is Babies in Black. Not a particularly exciting centre label, although it is one of those metallic looking injection labels, are they called? I can't remember. And it's got the little Apple logo there. I do like Real Love. I like it better than Freezer Bird, to be honest, and I love both of those. Freezer Bird I picked up for a similar price, actually, along with quite a lot of Beatles collection hole fillers from Flashback Records. I did a specific video about them some months ago. You can find that in the Misc VC and Music Unboxings playlist. I've got Freezer Bird and Real Love as like a exclusive double A-side single in the Beatles singles box set. But once I'd got the original Freezer Bird 7-inch, the original Real Love 7-inch felt like a bit of a hole in the collection, and there was no other singles released from any of the anthology albums. So really, that's all I need in relation to Beatles singles. Real Love. Next, we have the other expensive single, about £30, but this feels like a little bit of a bargain because other sellers were selling it at nearly twice the price, and on eBay as well I looked, and people were asking silly money for this. So for someone to be selling it for 30, and it is only a 2-track single, but it completes a collection. This is Go Square Go by Las Vegas. So happy to get this, as now I'm completely up to date for singles as well as albums for Las Vegas. The B-side is Legs and Show. It's on the Wax Records label, and it was basically their debut single. I think they might have had like a CD single come out before this, but I'm referring to vinyl when I'm saying I'm complete on Las Vegas now. I'd been seeing it from this particular Discogs seller at this price, and I'd not pulled the trigger on it, mainly as I was getting other cheaper Las Vegas singles first, and then I said to myself, well, if it's still available after I've bought all the other stuff and I've not come across it cheaper elsewhere, I'll get it from that seller, and eventually I did. It is limited, this. Oh, I didn't realise it's actually got a lyric insert in it, sort of a rather DIY looking, although it's glossy in the hand. Series of photos there, a bit like a punk single I suppose. It's limited in quantity, this. I want to say 500 copies, but it's very early, even rarer than the Daddy's Gone and Cheating Heart singles. that I showed in the last Records Roundup. So there we go, Las Vegas collection done and dusted, at least until they release a new album, or maybe they might release a new physical single. They didn't release a physical single from their last album, Godspeed, but I hope they do release a new album at some point. Las Vegas, go Square Go.
Don't you feel it? Oh, if he wants to hurt you in the face. If he wants to hurt you in front of your mates. If he wants you to run away, run away, run away. Don't you fucking run away. Go, squad, shibby, baby girl. Go, squad, shibby, baby girl. Go, squad, shibby, baby girl. Go, square, go, shibby, baby girl. Don't you wait for the bell to ring, ding-a-ling-a-ling. One step forward, then bada bada bang. Oh, don't you make me go down to the pub where my mates know some individual smash you up. You know it's something that you will have to face to face, man to man, here and now with Banco. Go, squad, shibby, baby girl. Go, squad, shibby, baby girl. Go, squad, shibby, baby girl. Go, square, go, shibby, baby girl.
Two more 7-inch singles now, and once again it's a collection completed for me thanks to two pickups. The first one from Discogs, and it is The Farm and Some People. Now the 12-inch of this is pretty widespread. It's not common, but it's easy to get and it's cheap. There was just one seller on Discogs selling the 7-inch, and it was someone in France. And because I've tried, with a couple of exceptions, not to get any 12-inch singles from The Farm, I've just been sticking to the 7-inches. I really did want this on 7-inch, and I kept checking eBay, kept checking to see if any new Discogs listings had gone up for the 7-inch. And eventually I just thought, no, I'm going to order from this French seller, because the price was cheap enough, really. Including international postage and a little bit of taxes, it was still under £20, which makes this cheaper than the Las Vegas and Beatles singles today, certainly. A-side, Some People, B-side, The Moroccan. I almost compromised and just decided to go with the 12-inch, and there's extra tracks on the 12-inch, but I believe I have them on a compilation album anyway. This is just a collection piece, really, as the majority of the singles are, really. Really happy to get that. Some People by The Farm.
Some people they do desperate things to carry your words and do not bring trouble and strife into your life. They'll follow you around for the rest of your life. Some people they are like you and me. Some people they wanna be free. Open your eyes, can't you see? Open your eyes and you'll agree. Show me a man who's good and straight. Show me a man not willing to be great. What he lives and what he starts for. You keep on knocking at the same old.
And also from The Farm, but this was a purchase from Vinyl Tap. I got this with the Gorillaz album that I showed in the last New Order collection update, and there was something else, wasn't there? I think there was a Joy Division live album. Yeah, Gorillaz, Song Machine Season 1, and the Joy Division Lee Festival album. I added this to the order. Now, I'd been holding off on this, not because it was expensive. It wasn't $3.99. I could have got it a little cheaper on Discogs or even eBay, but as I was making an order at Vinyl Tap and I knew they had it, and I do really rate Vinyl Tap records, by the way. I use them a lot, so I'm happy to give them my custom, even if this is like a quid or two dearer. But it's I think the original release of The Farm's Love See No Colour. Now, ages ago, in a Records Roundup many moons back, when I was less grey, I showed a clear vinyl 7-inch single of Love See No Colour, but that was technically the remix reissue that came out the following year. This came out, it would have been 91, I think, late 91. And then the remix came out 1992. So it's technically two different single releases. I was ignoring this one because I'd picked up the other one ages ago. I kind of felt I ought to get this because it's a separate single release, even though it is the same track, if you see what I mean. So side A is Love See No Colour. Presumably it's a edit of the album version. And side B is Love See No Colour, the Noel Watson dub. Once again, it's just a bog standard 7-inch single, but with a custom label, of course. So thank you to Vinyl Tap from that. And now the Farm collection is complete as well. Well, the singles are complete. I'm still missing their third studio album, and it's only out on CD. I'm holding out for a vinyl issue, but who knows if and when it'll ever get one, so I'm probably going to pick up the CD, maybe at some point in the new year, because I'm not in any massive rush. That's a story for another day. The Farm and Love See No Colour. On to the 12-inch size vinyl, and one 12-inch single before we move on to the albums. Not a lot to see with this single really, as it actually should be a picture sleeve, but it didn't come with one, but I decided I would get it anyway. It is a band called Royal Family and the Poor, and the single is a 3-track 12-inch called Art Dream Dominion. You can see what the actual picture sleeve should look like on screen now. The seller, and I ordered, I think it's the albums I'm going to show you next actually, along with this, from the same Discogs seller. It was advertised as being just in a generic sleeve, but it was a lot cheaper than all the other sellers. A lot of the sellers were international for some reason, even though this is a Factory Records release, so a UK issue. But I thought this will do, as Martin Harris likes to call them, placeholder copies. So this is kind of a placeholder copy of this single for me until I can get a picture sleeve version to upgrade, and I can get one easily enough, but I'm not keen on the prices. They're just a little bit higher, so this is perfectly fine. This would have been, I don't know, between £5 and £8, I think. I can't quite remember. 3 tracks on it. You can see the track listing on screen, and obviously it's another one for the New Order related collection, because this was produced by, it'll be Dojo and Barney, I think. I wanted to say Hooky then for a minute. I think it says on screen, I can't remember now, but it's a B Music production, so it's a New Order production in all intents and purposes. That is Royal Family and the Poor. Right then, on to 3 albums from the one artist, female solo singer. I've been a fan for a lot of years, but I only got my first album by this artist. What was that? Late last year, maybe a little more than a year ago. I lose track. It's all this record collecting I do. I had a 7-inch single, her really only big hit in the UK and across much of the world. And I actually sent that out as a VCLT to Nick's Vinyl Butty, and he played it. I don't collect the singles of this lady, so I was happy to pass that along to Nick in the hope that he might like it. I was just kind of taking a punt really, just seeing if he'd be interested, and he did enjoy it. I'm talking about the late Israeli singer Ofra Haza. Now then, this first album I'm going to show you, I can't put any information on screen because the only info I could find, there was no Wikipedia article, at least not in the English language, and I didn't find any in Hebrew or any other language to translate, and even the Discogs page of this, it's all in Hebrew as well. I believe the album might translate as... Now then, I've seen a couple of different translations. I think I've seen it translated as high and also live or alive. So I don't know. As you can see, without me hovering my smartphone and the Google Translate app over it, I can't really say anything about what's on here. This was pretty cheap. I think this, with the Royal Family and the Poor single, the Beatles' Real Love 7-inch, and the next two albums to show you were all from the same seller, and there was like a buy 5 get your cheapest free deal, which they sorted out once they dispatched. They just sent a refund for the cheapest album via PayPal. This wasn't the cheapest record of all the 5 that I bought from that seller. I think that is the next one I'm going to show you. Ofra Haza, she died in the year 2000, I think, from AIDS-related complications. She was pretty young, early 40s, I think, when she passed away. Legendary in the Middle East, Israeli by birth, but don't be mistaken, she has sung in multiple languages, including Arabic as well, and she was quite the force for peace and prosperity in the Middle East throughout her career, which I think in this day and age, and I don't get political hardly ever, but I think that's something that we could all do with more of in 2024, almost 2025, certainly, with what's going on in certain parts of the world. So yeah, Ofra Haza, brilliantly talented lady. I don't think I've finished my anecdote about Nick's vinyl, but it was Im Nimalu, the 7-inch that I sent to him, and he enjoyed it. But we'll talk a little bit more about Im Nimalu in a second. But there is this album here. Before I put it down, I think her entry for the 1983 Eurovision Song Contest may be on here, but even then I'm not 100% certain, and it came second in 83 Eurovision, by the way. This one will be a lot easier to talk about, and there'll be some info on screen about it. It is Ofra Haza Yemenite Songs, and I think this one was £4, meaning it was the cheapest out of the singles and albums bundle on Discogs. So I actually essentially got this for free because they refunded me £4. This is a fairly well-known album from Ofra Haza in the kind of world music scene, certainly. But it's not like a breakthrough album. That would come a couple of years or so later. Looks like it's in probably a newer inner than what it originally was in. It's on the Globe Style label, which was and may still be, but I couldn't say, quite big in the world music, ethnic music scene internationally. Nice photo, simple design there of the sleeve. And Im Nimalu, which was her monster hit, I say monster hit, I think it was top 20 here in the UK, but it definitely got top 10 elsewhere in Europe and around the world, and might be number 1 in a couple of countries. Well, I think it's an acoustic version of Im Nimalu on here, and then it was remixed a couple of years or so afterwards, and it was an international smash. So there we go, that is Yemenite Songs. So you'll be unsurprised to learn that I have got a third Ofra Haza album to show you. This is the final purchase from that bundle of 5 from a Discogs seller, and this is a breakthrough album. Sade, I'm gonna pronounce it as, or Sade. Apologies that I'm butchering one of many thousands of beautiful languages around the world. So Im Nimalu, and it'll be sort of, you know, the updated pop remix is the first track. I think there's also at least 1, maybe 2 other singles that were released from this album, not necessarily in the UK, but in international markets. Some of this stuff will be in the English language, certainly, because this song's titled My Aching Heart Love Song Face to Face, for instance. And I think there's also Hebrew and Arabic language stuff on here as well. So this is probably the album of the 3 I'm most looking forward to. because it's going to have that kind of late 80s dance pop sort of sound, because Imni Milou is just a brilliant single. I don't collect her singles because it'd be a bit of a rabbit hole really, and I've only just started collecting the albums, so I passed that on to Nick for him to try, and he enjoyed it, and it just put me in the mood to get 3 of her albums, as this seller had 3 in stock. That does look like the original Inner because it's the custom one with all the lyrics and stuff on it. If you're not familiar with Ofra Haza, then I do urge you to check out her work. I'm in a voyage of discovery with her, so there's not an awful lot I can recommend apart from the obvious so far. But needless to say, I'll be listening to this and the 2 other albums over the coming weeks, and I'm hoping that I'll be adding some more of her albums to my collection. The only other album of hers that I had in my collection for about a year or more now was her final studio album, self-titled Ofra Haza. I did show that in a records roundup many moons ago, but that is Sade. Next up, this was an eBay pickup, if memory serves. Yes, this is from eBay. I think this was an auction win as well, actually, and I'm absolutely made up that I finally got this. The Who, Endless Wire. So this was The Who's first album since it would have been, It's Hard in the early 80s, 82-ish. And this was come out originally 2006. I think this is an original 2006 issue. American pressing, but I think it only got an American pressing on vinyl originally, at least, and it's just proved really elusive for me for my Who collection. This, I saw Martin Harris was able to pick this up from a Slice of Vinyl second-hand section some months ago, and I was very jealous because I've been looking for a copy, and I think he paid a pretty good price as well, less than what I paid for this. I'm sure the price I paid for this, I'm reasonably happy. I think including postage it was either just under or just over 40. I'm still not complete on Who albums because I still am waiting for Who Are You to get a half-speed remaster release, but I don't know if it ever will, so I might just end up getting a standard reissue copy of that in the near future. We'll see. That is The Who's Endless Wire. Oh, it's a double album, by the way, with like a mini opera. You know, Pete Townsend likes his rock operas, doesn't he, on the second disc.
You jumped out of an alley with surprise in your black widow's eyes. I was prepared to be unprepared, been preparing for lies. I fell right in love with you, into 1,000 parts I blew. I fell right in love with you. I was caught in a corner, every corner from a broken romance. Taking breath after one sudden death, I had a firm grip on my hands. I fell right in love with you. To 100 hearts I flew, I fell right in love with you.
On now to 2 albums purchased from Townsend Music. The first one was the one National Album Day pickup that I got around the time of that particular event. I did do a video showcasing all the reissues coming out for NAD 2024. And I said that this was the only one that I was definitely going to get. There's others that I quite like in the range, but I wouldn't pay full price for them. I'm going to wait and see how much they get reduced by in various sales over the coming weeks and months. But this one I wanted right away because it's the 20th anniversary of Embracer's Out of Nothing. There again, this now means I'm complete on Embrace studio albums. So lots of collection holes being filled here today, and filled up fully. Not in the case of New Order. There'll probably always be something that I want to get in that particular collection that will be just unobtainable. But yeah, 20th anniversary of this album from the lads in Embrace. I will get this open and show you, because this is coloured vinyl. The prices were all very similar, not to one another, but similar each album at whatever record shop you'd buy it from. But some were like sort of in the 20 to 30 mark, and some in the 30 to 40. This was one of those that was in the 20 to 30 price range, probably because it's just a single disc album. There's your inner. It's red and black spatter. Very nice. I like the sort of effect where there's more of it on that side than on the other side. Yeah, that's really attractive, that. I like that a lot. Looking forward to listening to this. I've only really been a completist on Embrace this year. Their first two albums, by the way, I don't own on vinyl, but I have them on mini disc, and I'm not intending to double up and get the vinyl issues as well. Just one copy of each is good enough for me, regardless of format. But Embrace and 20th anniversary edition Out of Nothing.
But it's a picture I'll always keep in mind, where you say I've never been even light for anything truly mine, and you did it looking as you are, looking as you are, looking as you are, looking as you are.
The other pickup from Townsend Music is the latest album from Betty Boo, Rip Up the Rule Book. And as you can see, because it was bought from Townsend Music / her official store, which is basically a rebadged section of Townsend Music, it is signed by the lady herself. So I got her comeback album, Boo Mania, a couple of years ago, also a signed copy from Townsend. Enjoyed that. I do want to get her first two albums, the ones that came out in the early 90s, before she took that massive 30-year gap in recording, but I haven't really looked for them on the aftermarket yet. I wondered if they might get reissued, certainly the first album of hers, because that was the one with all the big singles, but so far they haven't, and she's been sticking to releasing brand new stuff. Fair play to her. The sleeve kind of flips over like that, so you get like an alternate version, but as this is the signed side, I will consider this to be the front of the album, especially as when you open it up, all the gatefold stuff is the correct way up. This is coloured vinyl. I can't remember, I think it's red and something. Watch me get contradicted now. Yeah, it's not awfully dissimilar to the Embrace one I showed you. It is red, and it's got, I would say, black and white or grey and white spatter on it. I think it's showing up fairly well on the video. I'm recording this mid to late afternoon, and you know, this time of year, especially now the clocks have gone back, of course, like it's going dark already. So my videos in the winter are never really quite as well lit as I'd like them to be. Really excited to hear that, as her comeback album Boo Mania was, I wouldn't say it was an absolute classic, but It was great to have her back, and wow, I've said it before about Betty Boo, but does the woman even age? She's still gorgeous. 30 years on, it looked like she'd sort of not aged. Well, she had aged a day, she'd aged 3 decades, but still beautiful lady, talented artist in the kind of dance pop rap genre. This is Rip Up the Rule Book.
It was beautiful, it was beautiful.
You say you want me to be okay. You got too good at reading my face. Shells broken under my feet, but I gotta walk away, yeah. How'd you make it look so easy? Like you know how you can be free. I got tired of feeling lonely, so I hold on to the memory.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. When I think of all the good times, I remember all the good vibes. All I know is it felt right. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. When I think of all the good times, I remember all the good vibes. All I know is it felt right. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was.
Final thing to show you is a pickup from iMusic, and it completes an album collection, as has certain other things that I've shown you today. So it's been a real sort of satisfying records roundup for the completist in me today. iMusic is in Denmark, by the way. I've used them before a few times. I've also got some pre-orders with them that I'm waiting for that I hopefully will be showing you in probably a standalone video, actually, before the end of the year, I'm sure. But the price of this, I think including postage, which from Denmark is reasonable enough, it's about £5.50. It was around the £35 mark. All the conversions are done for you, as long as you go on the English language version of the site. I do heartily recommend iMusic. This one, I had ordered it a while ago, and it did seem to take them a little while to get it in stock, but I was in no rush for it. What it is Monty Python Sings. It's the 2019 50th anniversary reissue. I remember saying in a previous video, I'm not in any rush for this, I don't even know if I really 100% want it. And then Martin Harris, another shout out for my friend Martin, he left me a comment saying, oh, you know, Monty Python Sings, because you've got all the Python albums, it's worth having that one for completeness sake, because there is some stuff on it that won't be on some of the previous albums. So I was like, okay, you've convinced me. And it was proving quite difficult to find at a decent price, but iMusic had a copy. I wanted the reissue preferably, as it's expanded. There's extra tracks on from when it originally came out. And also, I am going to get this open because even though it's black vinyl, I think the fourth side or the second side of the second LP is etched, if memory serves. So I don't need to say more on Monty Python than what I already have elsewhere on this channel. Needless to say, I'm a massive fan. Met John Cleese in Harrogate at a comic convention, June of last year. Thoroughly lovely chap, by the way. I think I've got the right one out here. Yeah, side 3. So side 4, and is this going to show up decently? Ah yeah, as long as I hold it to the light. There's your etching. So it's a double album, but there's 3 sides to play rather than 4. But I don't get that much vinyl that is etched, so it's nice to have a little look at it. You'll be able to look up and see better quality photos of that, but I did want to get it out and just show you briefly in this video what the etching looked like. Looks like this is a gatefold sleeve, and it's back in the sleeve. Really happy to have got Monty Python Sings, thus completing my Monty Python vinyl LP collection.
The sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that we can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day. In an outer spiral arm at 400,000 miles an hour, in a galaxy we call the Milky Way. Our galaxy itself contains 500 billion stars. It's 100,000 light years side to side. It bulges in the middle, 6,000 light years thick, but out by us it's just 1,000 light years wide. We're 30,000 light years from galactic central point. We go round every 200 million years. And our galaxy is only one of millions of billions in this amazing and expanding universe.
And that's all of Records Roundup today. Thank you for watching edition number 76. Won't be too long, I'm sure, till 77 comes around, and of course I'll have other music collecting related videos in the interim as well. I want to say special thanks to all of my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm gonna go now, sort out that big pile of singles and albums and one Pet Shop Boys DVD that's down there near my feet, and I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for the next Records Roundup and my next record and music, all formats related collecting video. And that all feels jumbled up now that I've said it like that. Cheers everyone. See ya!